Hi, soulmate. So in today's class, we are going to continue and draft the blouse of the skirt pattern we drew earlier. We actually made a video of it, the actual key skirt. So this is the continuation and this is the blouse pattern. So if you've not watched the video for the skirt, I'll link it below. So the first thing I did here, I drew 1 inch to act as my borderline. So all my measurements will start from that. So from there, I'm going to measure the bust divided by 6 plus 2 inch. That will be like my chest line. I'm going to also measure the client's bust point, under bust, and the waistline, then the hip line, because this is a blouse. I'm going to measure the hip line. So I'm going to measure all that. The hip is, I think the full length of the cloth is 25. So that's what I'm doing now. So let me draw it and I'll draw it across. So after drawing the line now, all I have to do is to label it. So I'll label the bust point, the under bust, the waist, and the hip line. So after doing that, you are now going to measure your shoulder divided by 2. In this instance, hers is 7.5. That is, her shoulder is 15 divided by 2, 7.5. So you are going to measure your chest line, which is your bust divided by 6 plus 2 inches. So that's what I'm doing now. So your bust divided by 6 plus 2 inches. After I'm done, I'm just going to take my ruler and extend that line. So after extending it now, I'm going to measure the shoulder divided by 2 at that chest line and mark it. Then I'm going to take my ruler and just rule a straight line, connect it from the shoulder down. So our blouse is taking shape now. I'm just going to connect it so it will blend well. So after doing that, now it's time for us to create our shoulder slope. So for the front, you come down by 1 inches for your shoulder and you go in by 2.5 for your neck width. So you just connect it. This is universal for adults. That's how you get your shoulder slope. So after doing that, now the next thing we want to do is your shoulder, your bust divided. Please, I did a calculation of how to separate your front bust and your back bust. I'm going to link that video so you can watch it because the front bust and back bust is not the same. So I've imputed my front bust. So I'm going to divide that whole armhole line into 2. I'll get the midpoint. I'll now go in by 0.75 for the front, 0.75, and all I have to do now is to just connect it together. So you just use your curve rule to connect it together. Please, it's important you watch that video. If you're having issues with bustier, it will help you. So that's it. You just connect it and connect it to the bust. So after doing that, the next thing I want to do now is to take in my bust span or nipple to nipple measurement. So I'm just going to divide whatever I have as my bust span or nipple to nipple, divide it into 2 and mark it on the bust point, the under bust, the waist, and I will extend it down to the hip. So you work with what your measurement is or the customer you are making for. You work with that. After doing that, now I'm now going to make a straight line to connect all those points together in order for us to form our dart. So in order for our bustier not to be pointy, it is very, very important to come down by half an inch since she's not that busty. In some cases, if the client is very busty, you can come down by 1 inch. Then you are now going to take in your dart. If from the inside, I'm going to take out half inch, and from the outside, I'm going to take out 1 inch. I made a video where you will know how to calculate what exactly when you see your customer's measurement, you will know how much of a dart you need to take in. I'll link that video down so you will not be guessing when you want to take in that. But for her, she's not busty, so 1.5 as that measurement is normal because she's not that busty. Do you understand? So now I'm just going to connect. I'll make the connection from the other bust. I'll make it to that half-inch point I took in. So I'll connect the other side too. And our bustier is ready. Can you see it? It's very simple. Once you get bustier, to do corset will be easy. So I'm going to extend the bust span up because we need to take in our yoke. I'm going to extend it up so that we can take in our yoke. So now that I've extended it up, it's time for us to take in our yoke. I'm going to use 6.5 for this lady. But if you are working with someone that is very busty, please don't exceed 7 inches unless the person expressly tells you that I want my cleavage to be showing. If you exceed 7 inches, there's the possibility that their cleavage will show. But this 6.5 is perfect for this client. So I'm just going to connect it. I might reduce it, I might increase it, but please, whatever you do, don't exceed 7 if she's very bossed, except she tells you expressly that I want it like that. Do you understand? So this will be my yoke. I'm just marking it now. So now it's time for us to impute the neck. So I'm using 4 inches for the neck. I'm still trying to guess. I'm still trying to think if I will leave the neck like that, but I'm using 4 inches for the shoulder. So I'll just mark the 4 inches and link it to the yoke. So that part will act as my sleeve, and the way I'm marking will be gone. Do you understand? So now let's go to the bodice of this blouse. So after we are done with the yoke, so you are going to maintain that front bust measurement. You just maintain it. I know you still reshape the front, but just use that front bust measurement so you can up to the waistline, so you can create this box. It's very important. So you'll be able to draw out your side dart. So it is this front bust measurement I still use. So on your bust point, come down by 1 inches for this client. Yours can be 2. It's because she's not busty. So the difference between her front half length and her back half length is 1 inch. That is why I decide that is 1 inches. So use what your client have. Some people is 2, some 2.5, and I've seen 3. She's very busty. So when you have done that, you're now going to create a tiny triangle from your chest line. You connect it to the middle of your waist. It is very important because when you are taking out the side dart, so your pattern will not be shortened. So it's very important you create that box and mark it. Just keep it like that. You will need it. So after we've done that and we've created the side dart, the next thing we want to do is to now impute your under bust divided by 4, then you add extra 1.5, or you replace the dart you took in. For me it was 1.5, so I'm replacing it. I'm doing the same for the waistline, waist divided by 4 plus extra 1.5, and I did the same thing for the hip line, hips divided by 4 plus 1.5. So I'm just going to connect it. If you notice, I connect from the hip to the waist, but I've not connected from the waist to the bust point because I want to close in the side dart first. So you are going to close in the side dart. You can use sellotape or pins to close it in. It is very important. So after closing it in, I just remembered I have not extended my dart to the yoke part. So you can do that as well. Don't be like me. Do it. But let me pin it down so you will see. Why I decided to pin it like this for cutting it, so that the side pattern will not be shortened. So after doing that now, on that breast point, come up by 1/2 inch. So let's take in the dart for the upper side. Come up by 1/2 inch. So after marking the 1/2 inch on both sides of the dart for that yoke part, go out by 1/2 inch on both sides. Go out by 1/2 inch on both sides. Then connect the lines to the 1/2 inch you took out from the upper bust. I hope you understand the top part of your bust point. So you just take a curved rule and connect it. I really hope you understand this. I don't want to waste this pattern, so I have to post it like that. So you just connect it. That way we've taken in our dart for the upper side. It's important you do that so your bustier will curve very well. So now that I'm done, I'm going to replace that 1 inch I took out. I'm going to replace it at that armhole. So you're going to extend by 1 inch. So you are going to extend whatever it is, extend it on that bust point. Then you are now going to create your new armhole. Can you see it? So the principle is whatever you take in as that, make sure you place it at the side so your pattern will not be shortened. So after that now you are now going to connect the new armhole to your under bust point. Sure you understand. That was why I said you should not cut it straight. You connect it now. Then from the under bust, you now connect it to your waistline. So if you feel you'll be confused, you can use two colored marker. But if you cut it straight, your pattern will be short. So now that I've connected it now, I know that my pattern is correct. I can now recut it. Do you understand? So you just cut it out. And I've cut out the yoke. Then you cut out the dart away. And this is how the front pattern is looking. Can you see it? I'm just checking it to see if what I did makes sense. And it's looking good already. Can you see? It's very beautiful. Even though she's not busted, the thing will still be curvy. So now let's do the back. So for the back, I've already measure 3 inch on the sides and 1 inch on top. So when I'm measuring, if you notice, I started my measurement from 2 inches. That is because the front and the back, the difference between the front and the back is 1 inch. So if the difference from yours is 2 inches, make sure you start measuring for the back from that 2 inches so that the two sides will blend when you are done. Can you see? So I've already measured, this is the hip line or the full length of the blouse. So from there now, I'm now going to measure. See, please note that I'm starting my measurement from 1 inch. I'm now going to measure my chest line and the under bust, then waist. We don't need the breast point for this particular back. We don't need breast point for the back, so you don't need it. So all you need is your chest line, your under bust, and your waist. But in this instance, I'm marking my chest line, my under bust, and my waist. So after I'm done now, I'm just going to label it. So under bust, waist, and half length or hip line. So I'm going to impute the shoulder divided by 2, just the way I did for the front part, and just connect it together. So I'm also going to divide the length of the armhole, that is bust divided by 6 plus 2 inches. So that's what I'm marking now. So after doing that, you are going to impute your nipple to nipple just the way you did for the front. Just that the dart intake for the back will be different. So you just impute it on your chest line, your under bust, and your waistline, and you roll it across. So after you are done now, so on the waistline, I want to take in the zipper bulge. I don't want this thing to, since our spine is curvy, it's not straight. So on the waistline, you go in by 1 inches. Just keep it like that. So now let's come to the shoulder. We are going to impute our shoulder slope. However, for the back, they will come down by 0.75 and go in by 2.5. So the difference between the front and the back is the coming down. Back is 0.75 and front is 2.5. So now that I've gotten my shoulder slope, the next thing we want to do now is to get the midpoint of that armhole, just the way we did for the front. So you get the midpoint. So for this, you go in by half an inch. For the front, we went in by 0.75 inch. So now on that chest line, you're going to measure your back bust. Please refer back to that video how I told you people how to separate the front bust and the back bust. So you are going to mark it now. So when you've marked it, you are done with your armhole. So now that you are done with your armhole, our blouse is taking shape. So the next thing we want to do now is to now go back to that waistline. Remember I told you people to go in by 1 inch because we want to eliminate the zipper bulge. So from that 1 inch, connect it to that starting line. It will be slanted. Then also connect it to the end of the blouse. Do you understand? So you are going to connect it to the end of the blouse. So that way, when you wear the blouse, there will not be zipper bulge. So this is how there are different ways of eliminating zipper bulge, and these are one of the ways. So now let's impute our dart. I want to use 0.25 inch on both sides of the dart. It's not so after taking it now, so you are now going to connect it to the chest line. Make sure it doesn't get to the chest line. You will not connect it up to maybe like an inch below the chest line. That's where your dart will stop. Since the water I'm taking is very tiny, if she is on a bigger size now, I can use half an inch on both sides, but she's very slim, so that's why I'm using 0.25 on both sides. So I'm just going to create my dart. Take it gently and create your dart. So our back dart is ready. See how clean it is. Do you understand? So it's now for us to impute our measurements, and we are going to replace whatever it is we added. So when we are marking now, we're marking from that slanted line, please. So we're just marking our back bust. Then on the under bust, from the slanted line, you mark your under bust. Then you now replace your dart. You measure whatever it is you took out for the dart, replace it. On the waistline, start from that slanted line. You measure your waist divided by 4. Waist divided by 4. Then also replace the dart. So our dart will be half an inch, right? Because we took out 0.25 on both sides, so we replaced it. Then on the hip line, you just mark it. Since there is no dart in the hip line, you just mark it straight. So you connect all those lines together. So when you are done connecting, if they are sharp, you can blend it. Do you understand? But let's connect everything together first. So after connecting everything together, our blouse is taking shape. I mean the back pattern for our blouse. So the next thing we want to do now is to now impute our neckline. So I'm using 4 inches and 2 inches depth. That's 4 inches wide, 2 inches deep. And I'll just connect it together. So after connecting it together, so now it's time for us to now impute our shoulder slope for our zipper line. So I'm using 1.5 for zipper allowance. Please note that I'm marking from that slope. So you're just going to mark it. Do you understand? And connect everything together. If you do it well, it will be slanted. So it will bend into the waist because human being spine is not straight. If you make it straight, your zipper will be showing. It will be bulging. That's why you see some blouse or some gown, they wear it and the zipper will be squeezing. This is one of the ways to eliminate your zipper bulge. Can you see it? So you are going to cross check your work. That's what I'm trying to do. So you are going to cross check your waistline, your bust line. Just cross check if everything you marked is okay. And if you are satisfied with it, and you will not cut it out. Please note that we've not added sewing allowance to all these things we are doing. So this is just the pattern. When we are drafting it on clothes, we add sewing allowance. So I'm just going to cut out my dart. I'll cut it so it will be open. So it will be easy for me to transfer to the pattern. Can you see it? So now I'm going to cut it on fabric now. So I'm cutting it on fabric. I'm adding my sewing allowance. So I'm using 2 inches. So I'm going to add 2 inches on the side for the back, then half inch at the down part, then half inch on the shoulder line. So whatever allowance you are using for the side, please don't let it exceed 3 inches. If not, your blouse will be bulky. So you're just adding half inch at the down part, then half inch at the shoulder line, then you can cut it out. So that's what I'm going to do now. Just cut everything out. So after cutting it out, the next thing I want to do is to also do the same for the front pattern. So I'm for the side of the front part, I'm adding 2 inches, just the way I did for the back. However, for the dart line, where the dart is, I'm going to replace, I'm going to add half inch on the downside, add half inch on the top, then also add half inch on the dart part. Please make sure you add half inch. Do the same for the center front and notch where the under bust and bust point is. So when I'm done now, I'm going to go ahead and iron hairstay on both the lining and the main fabric. So I'm iron hairstay. So after ironing hairstay now, I will now come back. Then we'll go to the sewing part of this tutorial. So if you not like this video, kindly do that. And if you're watching my video and you've not subscribed, kindly subscribe now. So now let's go to the sewing part of this tutorial. So now it's time. I've ironed the stay on it, so I'm going to sew it now. So you are going to sew the center front to the sides of the front, so it do the same for the lining. Then for the back, I'm going to pin the pattern to the back, each pieces of the back. Then you're going to use your chalk to draw out your dart. So when you are sewing it, it will be easy for you to know where the dart is. So whatever I draw, this is the dart I will take in. So you do it for the four sides. Then for the yoke, you just arrange it. So the yoke is into four. There is lining and there is the main fabric. So you just make sure that the bigger side, please make sure you don't mistake the up for the down part. So you just sew the side. So let me go and sew it now and come and show you how it looks. So I'm going ahead to hold the dart. So I did it for the four part pieces for the back. I mean the two main fabric and the two lining. So that's what you are going to do. So you're now going to place lining on top of each piece. Hold the neck, sew the neck, top stitch on it. When you are done, sew the sides and the down part. So the only place that will be open is the armhole. That's where you are going to use to turn it. Then for the back, after sewing it like this, you open it up and iron it. Then after iron it, make sure you iron both the front and the back. It's now time for us to add bra cup. I'm using bra cup for this tutorial. If you want to know how to attach bra cup properly, there's a video for it. I will link it below. But now I've already added that to the bra cup. I'm using size 34 for her because her bust is 34, 33. So 34 will be perfect, and I've held it. So I'm just going to cross check where my nipple point is, although I've notched it, but I still want to cross check. So when you are doing one, please make sure you notch it. If you notch it, it will be easy for you. So I've notched it. Can you see it? But I will still mark it. So now I'm going to take one bra cup. You are going to work with pin. You are going to get the midpoint of the bra cup and pin it to the nipple points of each bustier. So I'm just pinning it now. I raise it up. I didn't know it was not showing, but I'm going to show you now. So I will pin it gently. After pinning it, this is how it's looking. I'm going to take the other one too. I'm going to pin it. You're going to pin the midpoint of the bra cup. You pin it on the nipple point of the blouse itself. So you're just going to pin it. So when you make sure you've secured it now, you're now going to lay your bra cup flat and just pin it round. Please watch the part of the bra cup I pinned. It's very important. But if you want an in-depth tutorial on how to actually use this ready-made bra cup for your bustier, I have it, so you can just check it out. This one is faster than wadding, so there are different ways to pad your bustier. So make sure you are pinning it on your lining, not your fabric itself or your lining. So I'm going to do the same for the other side now. I'll look for the midpoint. Can you see it? I'll just pin it to the burst point of it. I'll make sure that the fabric is not squeezing like the bodies of the clothes, and I'll pin it. After that, I'm going to pin it around and I'll show you. You know, I said that this lady's bust is 33 and this bra cup is 34. So you can actually trim it out a bit. If you know that the bra cup is a bit bigger than your client's bust, you can trim it out. There's no harm there, so I'm just going to trim it a bit. I will say trim the other side so that it will stay well. Can you see it? So you can just trim it because she's not as busty as the bra cup. So now that I'm done, I'm going to go to the machine and that pinned part, I'm going to sew it round. I'm not yet satisfied with the cup, so I'm still retrimming it again. There's no harm in this because if you are using a wording, it won't get to this point, so you can actually retrim it. So now, after I'm done and I'm satisfied with the way I trimmed it, you are now going to sew it round and sew it on the other side. So let me sew it and come and show you people. So now that I've sewn it, this is how it's looking. It's time for me to now add the yoke. When you want to add the yoke, make sure you go in by 1 inch before you add your yoke. It's very important. If not, your bust will be gaping. Can you see? So you add the yoke from that 1 inch. Remember when we were drafting, we extended it by 1 inch. So that is it. So make sure you go in by 1 inch first before you will not pin your yoke in place. If you don't do that, it will be gaping. Do you understand? Your bustier will not be firm, it will be gaping. So I'm just going to pin the other side. After pinning it now, you are now going to place the back, that is the lining, on it and just sew it. You can pin it if you want to. If it will make your work easy, you just sew it. So now I want to go and sew it and come and show you how it looks. So after sewing it, I'm going to notch it, open it up and top stitch on the lining part. So after top stitching, I will close it. I'm going to sew the down pattern first, then I'm going to sew the sides and turn it in. So for the back now, I'm now going to pin my zipper on the two sides of the back using the allowance I left earlier. Remember when we were drafting, I left out 1.5 inch and I've used 1/2 inch to sew it in. So I'm left with 1 inch. So I'll just pin it and I've attached the zipper. So I'm going to close the front pattern now and then I'm now going to take my tape rule and remeasure my measurement. So I'm going to mark my back bust. I'll mark it. Please make sure that when you are starting, all your measurements should start from 1 inch for the back. Then you are going to measure your under bust. You don't need your breast point for the back pattern. Then your waist. Then of course the hip line. So you are going to impute your waist divided by 4. Your under bust divided by 4. Make sure before you do all this one, I give it a good press. You iron it so it will lay flat. Then your hips divided by 4. So you are just going to do that now. Your hips divided by 4. So you are just going to do that and mark it. Can you see it? So now, after you are done with that, so you are now going to measure your bust for the front part. You fold it into 2. By then, you should have ironed it. You fold your bust into 2 and you mark your front bust. for the front part, it's easy for you to get the under bust. So you are just going to mark your under bust measurement for hip line and the waistline. So I'm just getting the point of my waistline. I'm marking it again to be sure that my waistline. So please be sure you mark it again to be sure of your waistline. So I'm just going to impute it now. And I also marked my hip divided by 4. So I'm going to connect everything together. So whatever I do for this side, I'm going to turn the blouse and do for the other side. So after you are done with that now, so the next thing you want to do is to use your pins to mark it straight. Then you will now connect the shoulder. Make sure your pins, you use your pins to actually pin these two sides together. Connect the shoulder, and this is how our blouse is looking. I've not ironed it, but this is where it's looking. Can you see it? So you are now going to trim in any excess you have. You trim it out. That way your bustier will be very firm. Do you understand? So now let's cut out this sleeve. The sleeve is all this kind of sleeve that is big at the down part. So I'm just going to fold my fabric into 4. Make sure it's excess. So I measured it. I noticed that this is like 11 inches. It will be enough. So I'm going to mark the full length of the sleeve. We're using freehand for this sleeve. So you're going to mark the full length of the sleeve, which is 23, but I made it 24 because I'm going to fold it. Do you understand? So you're just going to mark it. So you also add half inch. So just use your free hand and create a curve in the sleeve. So you are going to measure it if it aligns with the armhole of your bodice, the bodice of your fabric. If it aligns with the armhole, you are just going to make sure you mark it. So when it aligns, you mark it. Do you understand? Then you're now going to measure from your sleeve to the length, the short, if you want to go short sleeve, the length. Mark it, let it be fitted a bit, then to now come out. Because this kind of sleeve, it's fitted a bit, then it's now came out. So you're just going to use your free hand to make it come out. So after you're done, you can now cut it out. Our sleeve is ready. Our sleeve is ready. So you can now cut it out. So after that now, the next thing you want to do, you just fold your sleeve in. Just fold it in at the edge. Close it up, then attach it to the bodice, and you're good to go. So this is how it's looking. Can you see how beautiful this is? If you've not watched the tutorial for this skirt or how to sew and actual skirt, kindly check it.